I'm Dump Truck DS. Mark V is a Quake source port, or otherwise known as an engine, for Quake, and there's a lot of great features that I don't think a lot of people know about. Mark V has a lot of features that help mappers, but also that are handy for gamers. So if you use Quake Spasm or Dark Places, you should definitely be watching this video if you haven't tried Mark V out. Mark V strives to kind of, maintain the classic look, just kind of similar to Quake Spasm. So, but you can change the video options. And you're noticing here, there are mouse-driven menus. This is one of the things I love about Mark V. It's done really well. It's very robust. And once you go to a different engine that doesn't have this, you kind of miss it, or at least I do. So you can, customize your controls and click all that jazz. So another thing I love is a levels menu item here. And you can see the custom levels show up first, and then the original Quake levels down here. So it's very handy. Next item I love, and I can't live without, is this demos menu, because demos are always named something weird. It's always kind of a pain to find what you're, what was that called again? So the alternative is, you bring down the console and you type in play demo. Can't type today. And then you have to kind of figure out, well, okay, whatever. But it's so much easier just to use the demo menu. The next feature I love is fast forward and rewind of demo. So I'm hitting the arrow left key and I'm going to back up to the beginning of the demo. And I'm going to fast forward through this now by hitting the right arrow key. So it's, for mappers, it's really handy to kind of review people's demos that they've sent you. And it's just fun to be able to go, wait, what just happened? Another feature that Mark V has is a really robust find function in the console. So if you're looking for a command and you can only remember just part of it, you can just type in find. And in this example, I'll go vsync, right? I couldn't remember the command earlier today. So I'm gonna hit enter, and it's gonna show me all of the commands that have vsync, which there's only one in this case. But let's do this. We'll type in find, and let's say vid, right? Vid underscore, and I'll hit enter. It's going to show me all of the commands and a little bit of an explanation of what these commands do. Sometimes they kind of run off the screen, but you can basically find what you're looking for. And then also you can see down here, it says type help name for a full description. So let's do help, and let's see vid test, right? I'm a horrible typist today. One of the drawbacks of Mark V is that there isn't really any documentation. If I'm not mistaken, I don't even know if there's a README. There's just a website. Another really amazing feature, and this is really for mappers specifically, are some of the dev tools that are built into Mark V. So the first command is the tool inspector. So you just type that in, or autocomplete or whatever, turn that on, and then what happens is, if let's say I've got my shotgun out, you can see the entity class name and a little bit of information. You can see their bounding box. There's a trigger there. I believe that's a trigger volume there. Pretty sure. You can see path corners, obviously. Info player deathmatch. You can see all the entities in the map, including targets. So you can walk around, then when you change the axe, then you've got some other information. So you've got the animation frames, you've got the model index number, which is helpful for hacks and things like that. So another helpful tool for mappers is tool underscore texture pointer. You type that in, that toggles in the texture pointer. And so anything you point at, you're going to be able to see the texture information, the name, the size. Let's say you have a mod or a map that you really like, and you want to know what the texture name is used in a certain area. It's just very super handy. You can also replace textures with this. I didn't read up on how to do it. I can't recall how to do it, but I know that functionality is included in this. So one of the coolest functions of Mark V is integration with Quadicted's Quake Injector. So if you know the name of a map that you want to install, you don't have to launch the Quake Injector or anything. You just bring down the console, and one of my maps is called End of Solace. So I'm gonna try this out here. It's not in this directory because it's a new install. I'm gonna do that. It's downloading the zip, and now I'm going to load End of Solace. That was easy. So if you know the name of a map on Quadicted, You can type install and the map name and you're good to go, right? Pretty crazy. I love this feature, and I think there are plans on making a user interface later down the line. So even though Mark V is my go-to Quake source port, and I'm very happy with it, there are some cons involved with using Mark V. So you always want to kind of have something as a backup. One of the big things is compatibility. Mark V at this present version 10.9.9, as far as I know, does not have support for what is called Protocol 999. And what that means is this allows much larger maps and craziness. Now, you can play Arcane Dimensions and all those maps. That is supported, and you can play those gigantic maps. But there are a few projects out there. Terra Shebeleth is one of them. That's a really large thing. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, somebody correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure you cannot run that in Mark V. So that's a pretty edge case scenario, in my opinion. The vast majority of releases, both new and old, will be compatible with Mark V. So that's not a huge ding against it, but it would be nice to be able to play everything. As I said, there's no documentation. I'm kind of a README guy, or manuals, or websites or wikis, and that has always put me off about Mark V. You have to go through the Funk message board post to really understand what a command is. If you don't know about a command, you're not going to know it. You can't magically know what's in the engine. And so I think not having documentation is kind of a ding against Mark V. Now, this next thing is really not a negative. It's kind of a yin and yang. It's a positive and a negative. So let's put it this way. Mark V is not developed on a very continual basis. It kind of goes in fits and starts. And I think the baker who develops Mark V will only work on it in certain times of the year. Now, that being said, here's the good part. When he is working on it, he is very responsive to bugs and feature requests even. If he can do it, he will include something. And he's done it a number of times, and I've noticed that. It's very admirable of him to have the flexibility and be able to just jump right in and solve a problem and give you a patch. So he's done that for me a number of times, and other users as well over on Funk Message Board. But in general, Mark V is updated much more than the other source ports in my experience. One other con that I found is that, Mark V uses DirectX 9, and that's fine. For Windows users, it's fine. The performance is really good. I've never had a real huge issue with just kind of vanilla stuff and your everyday things. But I did play a mod recently that uses a lot of sprites and sprite emitters that generate a ton of sprites for water effects. And I did find that the mod in question, which was the Underwater Jam, did not play very well on certain maps. There was a frame rate slowdown. I know that that's probably going to be addressed in the future, but it is something to know about. If you play a mod or something and something seems off, you may want to have a fallback. There are a lot of features that I'm really not even touching on, and this is really just should be considered an overview video. That's it from Mark V. Hey, thanks for hanging in there. We'll see you in the next video.